It's 104.9 Coyote Country. Robert Miguel here with you this morning. With me on the phone, checking in from who knows where. We're going to find out. You may know him from great hits like I'm From the Country, 10 Rounds with Jose Cuervo, Watermelon Crawl, or Hold in Heaven. The one and only Tracy Byrd. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Oh, man, doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm great. Thank you so much for checking in. I know you're a very busy man between family and being a big, country and western legend. Thank you so much for checking in to talk about what's going on this weekend.
Oh, glad to call in, man. Looking forward to coming down y'all's way and seeing you.
So, Tracy, you're going to be in Concan this Saturday, December 2nd. It's going to be at the Pasture Cattle Company, and there's just a lot going on this weekend in beautiful Concan, Texas. We are excited to have you in town. You kind of took a break from touring and making records for a few years, and are you back 100%? Are you back in the game?
Oh, yeah. That's a trick question, but yes, I am back 100% for a 50-year-old guy. I don't work like I used to, but yeah, I'm doing about between 50 and 60 shows a year.
Wow.
In the old days I did about 2 or 3 times that, but yeah, I got off the road the end of '09 and took a few years off. Actually, about 3 years. I just kind of chilled. I'd been out there for over 20 years nonstop, and so decided to take a little time and just stay home, spend some time with the family while my boys were still, young, relatively young, but after that I got back at it, put another band together, and we've been touring ever since, and just having a ball. I think I'm enjoying it more now than I ever have.
Well, you're probably a little, wiser, smarter, and you do it a little bit more safely, right?
Well, yeah, I think just with age and maturity comes a little bit better way of dealing and looking at things, and better way of working, and it sure has been that way for me anyhow.
Now your kids have got to be close to it. They're adults now, right?
Yeah, they're my daughter's 23. She graduated from Pepperdine University a couple years ago, and then I got a sophomore at A&M, my oldest son, and then we got a 15-year-old that's a freshman in high school. So
okay.
Yeah, they're getting there. It won't be long till we'll be an empty house.
What is that like for them? Do they get, what kind of, what's that like growing up with Dad, the big country and western superstar? Do they give you a little hard time, or are they just like, oh, Dad, those songs?
Oh, yeah. They, my music is certainly not what they go around listening to all the time. They got their own thing. But, it rubbed off on at least one of them. My oldest son, he plays. He's a really great guitar player, good singer and songwriter, and he's pursuing music. I'm trying to get him to, just finish his college degree, and then I told him he could, I'll drive the bus for him. He can take off and chase it. They, as far as being I'm just dad to them, and that's all I want to be.
Well, again, the show is this Saturday, December 2nd at the Pasture Cattle Company in Concan. People can get their tickets at housepasture.com. Now, there's a whole lot going on in Concan this weekend with the River Road Market Fest. They're going to have Santa and his reindeer out there. There's going to be ice skating for the kids, and also a golf tournament at the Golf Club of Texas. I hear you're kind of a golfer. You going to get out there and swing a few?
I try to only play 4 or 5 times a week, but yeah, I play a lot. I like to play golf, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to play in the tournament. So just have time to get there and play some music.
Well, if you have time, step on over to the Golf Club of Texas. Good people, go say hi to Gabe. He'll hook you up with a few rounds. It'll be a good time. And speaking of rounds, we'll have to do a few shots of Jose Cuervo, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll
be doing that one and all the other hits that night for sure.
How is drinking at your age now? How is that going? I mean, it's kind of easy in the early 90s and the ensuing years to get out there and do those party songs. Do you feel it a little harder to do it convincingly now, or you still got that youthful spirit?
Well, quite honestly, I quit. I love singing the songs. I still like watching everybody else party, but I hadn't had a drink in 7 years. I quit drinking 7 years ago, but I certainly drank long enough to know enough to sing about it for sure.
Amen. All right. Well, that's good. Hey, you know what? You got to take care of that body, man. We ain't getting any younger. It's very cool. Well, what you been doing recording-wise with the new band?
Yeah, I've got a new record that came out a few months back that I did on my own, my first album that I've ever recorded in Texas. I've always done, and recorded my stuff in Nashville or out in L.A., and I recorded up in Tyler, Texas at Rosewood Studios and did a did a new CD. It's called All American Texan. A bunch of songs that I've been writing over the last several years, and I had not put a record out in 9 years, so it was about time. And we'll be doing songs off of that in the show at Concan too, and we'll have the CD for sale, and of course it's available on, all the digital formats, iTunes, Google Play, all of that stuff, Amazon. But I'm proud of it. It's a good record. It's a real Texas record. It's a real, a little deeper record because some of the songs are, very reflective of my life and things I've been through in the, course of my life. And so it's a neat record. It's different in a lot of ways from the past CDs, but in some ways it's the same. So I hope people will check it out.
Well, we're very excited to hear it. Now we'll definitely get that on. Hey, now you mentioned CDs, and we're talking records, and we're talking download digitally. You basically lived through that whole transitional period where we used to buy cassettes and CDs, and now everybody's downloading the stuff. What's that like as an artist to kind of live right through the thick of all that?
Well, it's been very different. Obviously, much different than the days when we were, selling CDs at Walmart and, and your records. Back then when I started, you still had all your independent record stores too,
Yeah.
And all of that is gone now. Virtually. You really, it's all a digital world pretty much now. The recording process, I really like. I lived through, if, folks out there may not understand, but I started, when I started, it was analog recording, so we were actually recording to tape, to a big reel of tape, and it was a lot more difficult process back then of recording an album than it is now, and so in that respect, I really like the digital age because it's gotten a lot more streamlined and easier to make a record, but I think the digital, it's kind of cut into the album sort, an entire album being cut. I see more and more people just cutting, 2 or 3 songs or just one song and putting it out digitally, and that I'm not real happy about that because I come from an age when one of the greatest things when I was a kid was getting a new album, and with me being an artist like I was already when I was young, I was singing and playing already, and man, the hits were not what I was looking for. What I was looking for was the stuff buried in that album, the great songs that never got to be heard on the radio, and that's kind of gone. It's getting to where there's not even entire records being cut, and I really think in the future you'll see less and less of entire albums being cut. I think you'll see singles and maybe a 6-pack or something like that, or a 3-song set. And so that part of it I really don't like. I miss those deep album cuts that I used to be able to find, and it certainly affected the songwriters too. There's a lot of songwriters made a living off of those album cuts.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. You're talking to a guy that's you're preaching to the choir. I grew up in the same age, where you heard a couple of hits on the radio, and then you had the other, 6 to 8 songs that were just the jewels, the nuggets of coolness that were like, the deep cuts. And then there was always that one record that you could play from start to finish that was just perfect, and that doesn't exist anymore. Now it's all about the singles. It's all about the hit. We're generating, a 3.5-minute song that's just perfectly, formulated as a dance song and or love song or whatever. Yeah, it's a totally different time and age, but I'm glad you're still making records.
Right.
And it's good to hear that you've got that old school mentality of it, so we're definitely excited about the new album. Where are you checking in from? Last I heard you were in Beaumont. Are you still located out there?
Still living in Beaumont, yes sir. Yes sir. Been here all my life, and in fact that's where I'm at right now, and this is home for me. I love it down here. That's where all my family, my friends, everybody's here, and my wife is from Port Arthur, which is just 15 miles out of Beaumont, and so this is home for us, and this is where we chose to raise our kids, and I guess we'll live here forever. I don't see us leaving.
Well, I'm really excited. You're Texan born and raised and staying that way. You've been here to the area, Concan and Uvalde, a few times in the past. What do you like to do when you're in these parts?
Well, I love hunting in South Texas, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's the best in the state, and possibly the whole country. But yeah, I love that. That's most of my time that I've spent in South Texas outside of playing music has been hunting, and that's what I really enjoy.
So you're going to get some hunting in while you're in town?
Probably not on this run, but I'll be down there this year for sure.
Well, excellent, man. Well, it's so good to talk to you. Tracy Byrd on the phone right now. He's got a brand new CD called All American Texan. He's going to be in town this Saturday, December 2nd, at the House Pasture Cattle Company in Concan. You can get your tickets at housepasture.com. Of course, we'll see you Saturday evening. And, man, try to squeeze in some golf. Get over there and see those guys. Where can we find you online, and where can we get your new record again?
Your new record, you can go to my website if you'd like to have the CD, TracyByrdMusic.com. You can also follow me on Facebook. Same thing, Tracy Byrd Music on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And then if you're at the show in Concan, we'll have the CDs for sale. And if you want to get it digitally, well, then just go to wherever you get your music digitally. It's on there. It's on all the digital sites, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, any of those, all of them.
Well, Tracy, thank you so much for checking in. I know you're a very busy man. I'll see you Saturday. See you Saturday at the House Pasture. The show's brought to you by the Texas Hill Country River region, and we're going to have a great time partying with Tracy Byrd live in concert at House Pasture.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.